It's Charter Local Edition. Brad Pomerance here in the Inland Empire, joined today by Kevin Jeffries. He is a supervisor in Riverside County, and I admit it, I read Jeffries' Journal. I get it every month, and I read it, and the front page of Jeffries' Journal is Kevin's Corner, and I love alliteration, so I will admit I'm that guy.
Thank you.
And I must say, what I really enjoy about Jeffries' Journal is its accessibility and the nuggets that it provides in terms of facts about how our government runs and operates every day.
Right.
I want to, before we talk about a few of your recent issues, you know, I believe that county government has the most impact on our daily lives. More than city.
Most people don't recognize that, but it's
more
true.
than city, more than state, more than federal.
Yeah.
Explain why my viewpoint is, of course, right.
Well, besides you being Brad.
Exactly. Well, other than that.
Well, a lot of folks don't understand the county government is truly an extension of the state government.
Right.
The state delegates a significant amount of authority and responsibility to the counties, all 58 counties. And so when you look at the departments we have built into the county system, we're talking 40, 50 departments, give or take, of responsibility, whether it's child protective services, adult protective services, mental health services, jails. I mean, you name it, it's under the responsibility, and it serves everybody in every city in the county.
And you list that in the September issue of Kevin's
Yes.
Corner, which I think is important because, again, I don't know that we realize how critical county is to the day in and day out efforts of our system of government.
Well, most of us, frankly, deal with a city council on a day-to-day basis because the city council truly has what you'd call the local flavor issues of land use and fire and police. And so for those folks living in a city, the city council is their first stop almost all the time. What you don't see behind it is all those services the county provides regardless of jurisdiction.
Which brings up a good point, because in the September issue of Kevin's Corner, you talk about the unincorporated areas of Riverside County. There are 2.3 million residents in this beautiful county, but yet, God, is it about 15%, 350,000 don't live in a city?
That's right, that's right.
If they did live in a city, that city would be bigger than the largest city in Riverside County, Riverside.
Yeah, if you got all those unincorporated residents, those rural residents for the most part, not every area is rural, but
sure.
Yeah, they'd be the largest city in the county.
And in your district, the first?
First, yes.
Western?
Mostly Western.
Yeah, Western Riverside County. You have 110,000 unincorporated residents, and that would be the fourth largest city if it were a city.
Just in my district.
In your district.
Yeah, yeah.
And so in a lot of ways, sir, you're their mayor.
We like to joke that we're the mayor, we're the city council,
Right.
we're the dog catcher, we're everything. Those 110,000 residents, they mostly call our office first, looking
They have
for
nowhere else to
assistance.
go.
Yeah, so that's why we're full time,
Right.
nonstop.
And what also may be surprising is that despite all of those duties that the county has, when you look at tax collection, you'd let us know that for property taxes, for example, how much does the county get for $1 property tax?
About 11 cents.
Right. For sales tax, how much do cities and counties get?
Just a couple of cents.
Yeah. When you add it all up, Kevin's Corner says about 8.
Yeah.
About 8 cents. For income tax, how much does the county get?
Nothing.
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 Not directly.
Yeah.
But that's the right answer.
Yeah.
How do you do it? How do you do it?
Well,
Yeah.
that will give you an idea
Right.
of how difficult our county budget is to serve 2.3 million people and have so little discretionary revenues. Most of the revenues we get are dedicated to state or federal mandates
Right.
for programs that we employ the employees, but they're funded by the state or the feds.
And you mentioned that the county is an arm of the state, whereas the city is not. In some ways, the county is also kind of an arm of the federal government
Yeah, a
in
little
that,
bit. Yeah, a little bit.
not so much the directives, but the money flows to the county.
In large part, it does.
Right.
As long as Sacramento doesn't peel some
Right.
away and keep it for
And
themselves.
you were there, so you know that Sacramento
Yeah.
tries to do that quite often. So let's talk about the county budget, specifically here in Riverside County, because what we know is, it's very interesting. I'm finding this fascinating, in that during the recession, both the city of Riverside and the county of Riverside, while everyone else was falling apart, city and county of Riverside were doing fine.
Well, some would argue with you not so good.
But well, how about this? Better than others?
certainly better than others. I was in the legislature at
Right.
the time when the Great Recession hit. Riverside County had to make some very difficult choices at the time and did some significant reductions in staff and sheriff and what have you. So they had some pain too. I mean, Sacramento was cutting $20 billion from the state budget. The county was also making its fair share of cuts.
But one would have thought, with the economy turning around, a county budget would be doing better.
That would be my feeling. For those that don't know, the county's operating in a deficit
Right, and
today
that's why-
of
yeah.
1.17 million per week deficit spending.
I want to ask, what does that mean in terms of a percentage? I mean, if your budget is 2 million, that's a problem. If it's 200 million.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty small percentage, except when you look at the county budget of 5.3 billion and
Okay.
change, we get to control roughly about 800 million
Okay.
of the 5.3. The board
see.
actually gets to control that 800 million. And then you start chopping it up for sheriff, fire, animal services, code enforcement. You know, you go down the line and then there's just a little tiny bit of money left at the bottom. And when you throw in inflation and cost of living, you know, all the things that go with salaries and MOUs and just providing government services, which in California is extremely expensive.
Right.
We start running out of money, and then you get sued over jails, inmate
Which
health
you
care,
have, which you have been,
which
the county has been.
We're now going to spend $40 million a year extra for inmate health care, and we don't have the money.
And so you and your colleagues are looking at how to manage the budget.
Yes.
And I wouldn't call Riverside County filled with tax and spenders in terms of the membership of the board, although you're nonpartisan. I think it's 4-1 Republican. Is that right?
Yeah.
At this stage.
Yeah.
And yet, the one that voted against the budget is you. You are not a fan of what they're doing, which is deficit spending.
I don't think anybody on the board's a fan of deficit spending. My desire simply was to dive in, drill down into every department and look for areas we can save money, find where we're doing mission creep that we shouldn't be doing, find where we're just supporting programs that aren't that important anymore because times have changed.
Right.
I wanted to drill in and understand every department and have board committees to study that. My colleagues absolutely disagreed with that concept. So we ended up taking a step back and saying, do whatever staff's going to do. And I just don't agree with that philosophy. It's taxpayer money. We should drill down. We should make sure that public safety is first.
Right.
The safety nets are there second for everybody.
It's interesting you mentioned
It's
public
tough.
safety. There was a recent headline in the press enterprise that talked about how the number of sheriff's deputies looks like it's going to be dropping.
It's going to if things go the way they look
Right.
like they're going with the new budget that just started, the sheriff's going to have to make some dramatic cuts, which I think is extremely unfortunate because I believe public safety is the first responsibility of government, and yet we're going to cut patrols.
I want to ask about rainy day because the county does have a rainy day fund,
Yes.
which is to be admired, and you're tapping into it.
$60 million.
Right. So the question is it raining?
No, and that's my concern.
Right.
We're not in we're in a good economic time compared to where we have been. We're in
Right.
good. People are going to work. You can see them on our freeways
Of course,
every morning.
clearly.
We should be stashing away money,
Right.
but we're deficit spending in a good economic time. What happens if it goes
We
over
really,
the top?
if
Yeah.
we get a storm.
Yeah,
So where do we go from here?
that's really the $1,000,000 question. Where we go from here?
Or 1.17 million a week question.
Yeah, I think we just guys like me and hopefully another member or two on the board will realize that we just have to keep chipping away and trying to find more savings. We're hoping with the county that we have some consultants on board, and we're hoping that they're going to find some new efficiencies that our staff hasn't been able to find. So the next 3 months, 6 months are going to be pretty interesting.
You'll come back?
Oh, of course.
His name is Kevin Jeffries. He is a supervisor in Riverside County. My name is Brett Pomerance, coming to you from the Inland Empire on Charter Local Edition.